Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Madam Clerk, would you please take roll call?
Dave Abdallah,
Here.
Bill Bazzi,
Here.
Robert Constant,
Here.
Lisa Hicks Clayton,
Here.
Denise Malinowski Maxwell,
Here.
Ray Muscat,
Here.
Tom Wenzel.
Here.
Madam Chair, you have a quorum.
Tonight, I'd like to have Councilman Wenzel lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance
To the
To the
flag.
flag
of
of the United States of America
America,
and to the republic for which it stands,
one
one
nation, under God,
indivisible,
with liberty and justice for all.
Everyone, please be seated. First item on the agenda is our agenda approval.
Madam Chair.
Councilwoman Hicks Clayton.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Move to approve the order of business for September 8th, 2020, electronically held regular meeting of the Dearborn Heights City Council. This is a virtual meeting as submitted, Madam Chair.
Second.
Second by Councilman Bazzi. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Next, we have approval of the minutes. This is minutes from the electronically held regular meeting of August 25th, 2020.
Madam
Madam
Chair,
Chair.
Councilman Abdullah?
I move that we approve the minutes from the electronically held regular meeting of August 25th, 2020, as outlined in item 4A.
Support.
Supported by Councilman Constant. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Next item, we have public hearing and comment on agenda items only. This is limited to 2 minutes, and state your name and address. Please raise your hand if you'd like to say something. Doesn't look
I
like.
gotta figure out what I'm doing here.
Okay, let's move on. Next, we have fund transfers and current claims.
Council Chair,
Councilman Muscat.
I move that council approve current claims 6/1 through 6/29 as outlined. Second.
Supported by Councilman Bazzi. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
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 Those opposed? The ayes have it. Next, we have consideration of bids. This is for Deputy Police Chief Voiles bid award for the Justice Center marquee replacement.
Council
Madam
Chair,
Chair,
Muscat,
I move City Council concur with Deputy Chief Gary Voiles for the scrolling marquee, and it will be paid entirely by Tifa. This project is $26,500 as outlined in 7A.
Support.
supported by Councilwoman Hicks Clayton. Is there any discussion?
Council Chair,
Yes,
I
Councilman.
also have to add that the return of all bid deposits be to the companies that completed the bidding process.
By Councilwoman Hicks Clayton still? Yes. Any discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Next, we have CEDD, Director Hashem, request for bids for CEDD, professional service consultant for all federal grant programs, plans, and projects.
Madam Chair,
Councilman Constant.
I move we concur with our CDBG Director, Joe Hashem, and request bids for professional consultant services for all federal grant programs, plans, and projects as outlined in 7B.
support.
Supported by Councilman Abdullah. Is there any discussion?
Madam Chair,
Councilman Bazzi?
I just got a question on this item. Also the previous items, when for one of the items I forgot to mention at the last few meetings. So for bids, whenever the bid, somebody wins a bid, are we posting the bids that were not accepted so others will know, so we don't get calls say which bid won and how much it was? So I just want to make sure for transparency that those are they're posted somewhere. So whoever bid on any particular item, especially this item, knows that they didn't get the bid and who was the lowest bidder.
I think that's public knowledge.
No.
Madam Chair?
Councilwoman Hicks Clayton?
Ms. Sinia?
No, I think it was Cinia.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Madam Clerk?
I can tell you, yes, when the clerk's office sends out the council communication, all of the bidders are CC'd on the motion. So they do get the motion and who was awarded the bid.
No, I understand, but I'm talking about the
Okay.
ones who are actually doing the bidding. So let's say if you have 5 bidders, number 1 gets the bid. Does the 4 know who actually got the bid and what the bids were? Because that should be public knowledge.
Well, they do get a copy of the council communication that is sent out.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. What's it?
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Next, we have DPW Director Selmy, a request for bids for 2 rooftop units.
Council Chair,
Councilman Muscat?
I move City Council concur with Director Selmy in requesting to go out for bid for 2 rooftop units. One rooftop will be at City Hall for the Comptroller's Office, and the second one at the Fire Department headquarters. They've already been budgeted as outlined in 7C.
Support.
Support by Councilman Constant. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Next, under reports from mayor, we have a request for a public hearing, vacation of unpaved roadway on Daniels between Powers and Courier.
Madam Chair?
We missed
Councilman Abdullah?
7D.
Council Chair?
Oh, I'm sorry, excuse me, 7D, sorry, I crossed it off ahead of time. 7D is for Police Chief Myers' request for bids for service maintenance agreement for the HVAC system.
Madam Chair.
Councilwoman Hicks Clayton.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move that City Council concur with Police Chief Mark Myers and approve his request for bids to go out for the equipment by specification. These items are paid for with contractual services funds. The bids is for a service maintenance agreement for the building's HVAC system as outlined in 7D.
Support.
Councilman Bazey, is there any discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it. Next, we move on to 8A, which is reports from mayor. This is a request for public hearing, vacation of unpaved roadway on Daniels between Powers and Courier.
Madam Chair?
Councilman Abdullah?
So, but on this one, if you don't mind, I know it's not a discussion, but before we start, I just don't want us to vote in the wrong direction. This particular one, when I first read this in the packet earlier this weekend, I noticed that we'd already had this discussion and the vote and the whole 9 yards, and then we said we're going to take it to a town hall meeting. Or not town hall meeting, I mean, public hearing, I'm sorry, public hearing, I meant to say. And so I don't know if it would be, I mean, maybe the clerk can help us out with this. I don't know if it's an appropriate thing to start this thing from 0 again when we were at point C, which was the public hearing. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes, I know exactly what
Because
you're
we had a
saying.
discussion and then we voted and then we agreed to send it to a public hearing. And then I don't know if this was right before. I know it was before COVID. I know that much, but I know nothing happened. So I think that would be the right thing to do next, personally.
I think Madam Clerk is checking on that right now.
Council Chair?
Yeah, I think what we just have to do now is set up that public hearing. And sometimes it's held, we have to notify the parties. And now we have the request from the mayor to do that.
Yeah, this is an actual request for the public hearing, Councilman.
Okay, so I just want to make sure we're on the same track because I spoke with the assessor today, and this is what she wanted to make sure that we go in that direction instead of doing any type of vote on it right now. So with that being the case, I motion that we concur with Mayor Dan Paletko, request for vacation of unpaved roadway on Daniels between Powers and Courier, suggesting that the proper for City Council to set up a public hearing to hear the arguments pro or con to requested vacation after the public hearing, the city council would then be in position to consider approving the requested vacation as outlined in item 8A.
Support.
Discussion.
Madam
All
Chair?
those in, go ahead, Councilman Abdullah.
Okay, I just want to throw it out there, although I'm not totally against this, but I just want to throw it out there that we would be giving up some land, and I didn't do a assessment on it or anything like that, but just throwing it out there, this could be land that we give up that possibly could be sold for somebody to possibly develop. I know there's not a lot of development around there, but there's a lot of land around there, and I know we had talked at one point, there's been different organizations that have considered possibly purchasing it. The mayor is probably more familiar with it, and I also know at one point there was a soccer field proposal over there, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I know it's right next to another commercial building, but I'm just throwing it out there. When we give up this, we don't have the right to sell it, and just throwing it out there, maybe it's an option for us to possibly sell it or sell it to this particular gentleman, just for transparency. Thank you.
Madam Chair? Is she there?
Yeah.
Oh.
Councilman Bazey?
Yeah, just want to make sure I acknowledge.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so I do concur with Councilman Abdullah. I think one of the things that when we do the public hearing, that if somebody's interested in the property, I'm hoping they'll come forward to it during the public hearing.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed? The ayes have it. Next, under reports from city officials, we have Council Chairwoman for Seacrest Wardle Letter of Agreement.
Council Chair,
Councilman Muscat.
I move City Council approve this letter from Seacrest Wardle as outlined in 9A. I don't know if this was supposed to be note and file or if it's just an acceptance with
you
all
have to
council
approve.
voting.
Councilman, you have to approve it.
Okay, I move City Council approve the communication from Seacrest Wardle on the contract that they forward to us to be working as law services.
Support.
Outlined in 9A.
Supported by Councilman Bazey. Is there any discussion?
Madam Chair?
Council Chair?
I'm sorry, Madam
If
Clerk?
Okay, if Councilman Muscat can also approve or request the approval of the mayor, and usually it's the clerk on contracts and agreements.
Oh, yeah,
The
and be activated upon signature from Mayor Dan Pletko and the city clerk.
Thank
Support.
you.
Madam Chair?
All those in favor say aye.
Wait,
We had a question by Dave
Madam
Abdallah.
Chair.
Madam Chair?
Oh, Councilman Abdallah, go ahead. I didn't see
Okay.
your hand up.
So just for discussion purposes, and I just want to, although to clarify, I am in favor of paying this particular law firm because this was work that's been done. We've never, even though we said we didn't quote unquote formally hire them, we've never fired them either. The work has been done, they should be paid. So I want to clarify that. But with that being the case, I know at one point or multiple points as a council, we had asked for contracts. And at multiple points from the administrative end or from the council end, they've said, no, for years and years and years, we've done it like this without a contract. And I know there's been debate whether it should be on the charter or not. That being the case, I'd like it clarified to me, because this is not a contract. This is just a letter stating, you know, this is kind of what we're kind of agreeing upon. But I don't know if it's formally a contract. So with that being the case, I think we should have some sort of, if that's what we want, we should have some sort of a legal opinion if that's considered a contract or not. I know there's a motion at the end, but I'm just saying it's not a contract. Thank you.
Councilman, I did verify this is a letter of agreement which acts as a contract for them to do legal services for the city.
Mhm.
If you want, you're welcome to check with an attorney too, if you like.
That's the way I look at it.
Okay, so you said you had, I'm sorry, Madam Chair.
I verified it before I put it on the agenda.
Okay, if
Because
you
I
don't mind,
wasn't going to
with which
put something on
attorney?
the agenda.
Sure, with which attorney, if you don't mind?
Matt Schenk.
Okay, thank you.
Is there there any further discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Next, we have Council Chairwoman Malinowski Maxwell, payment of past due invoices for Seacrest Wardle.
Madam Chair,
Councilman Constant,
I move we approve the payment of the invoices from the law firm of Seacrest Wardle as outlined in 9B.
Support.
Councilman Bazey, is there any discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? The ayes have it. Next item on the agenda is DPW Director Selmy, purchase and payment 2020 pavement marking.
Council Chair,
Councilman Muscat.
I move City Council concur with Director Salmi in seeking approval to do pavement marking with PK Contracting in the amount of $19,857.90. We have the quote. The purchase will be paid from major and local street budget account 202-202-880-500 as outlined in 9B.
Support.
Support by
Or
Councilwoman Hicks
it'd be
Clayton.
C
Is there
now.
any discussion?
Madam Chair, I think it's C now, just
But
for
I'm,
clarification.
my agenda has it as 9B.
No, with the new agenda.
No, new
Yeah.
agenda is 9C.
See, I
Councilman.
never got that.
It said amendment.
Okay, well, I'll change it here as outlined in 9C.
Councilwoman Hicks Clayton, can we hear you?
Yes, I support it.
Thank you. Okay, any discussion?
Madam Chair,
Councilman Abdullah.
I'd like to ask Director Selmy this, if you don't mind. I assume he's on there. Is that correct?
Help me, we've got a lot of people. We got almost 60 people in here tonight.
Yeah, I'm trying to go through the list, or even anybody from DPW, just in case. If not, maybe the mayor can answer the question.
We're looking for Selmy. He's got to be in here somewhere because he's always here.
We
Hello.
can't hear you, Denise.
Huh?
I barely hear you.
Councilman Abdullah,
Yes.
John Selmy, I can hear you.
Hey, John. Okay, now I can hear you. So I just want to get two clarifications. Number one, was there bids at all done on this, or is that required? Let's start with that question.
There was no bids done on this. Basically, it's kind of a single source type thing. PK does all the road striping for MDOT, Wayne County, and multiple municipalities. I looked for a prior contractor, but their number was no longer valid.
Okay. And the second main question I had on this, and this is because of my lack of expertise in this particular field, so just as a layman looking at it, it seemed like a lot of money for striping 1 mile for $475. So I just wanted to get per unit. So I just wanted to get a clarification. It seems like a lot of money. Is that normal in the field? You would know better than I am. So I'm not stating this as, I don't know. You would know better than me. I just wanted to get your opinion.
Yeah, I looked at some other bids from other communities, and it's on par with what they were getting.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
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 Those opposed? The ayes have it. Next, we have DPW Director Selmy, purchase and planting of trees.
Madam
Madam
Chair.
Chair.
Councilwoman Hicks Clayton.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move that City Council concur with our Director of Public Works, John Selmy, and approve the purchase of the 40 trees, including planting at various locations throughout residential areas of the city. This is amount is, wait, do we have an amount? I'm looking for the amount. To come out of, it looks like the tree fund that we have established for the city. If we go down, it's going to be on the bottom of the invoice. Looks like $14,000, Madam Chair, as outlined in item number 9D.
Support.
Councilman Abdullah. Before I go any further, Councilman Constant, you have to unmute from your end. I got your message. I put your hand down. There you go.
It says I was muted by the host.
Now you are unmuted. Okay, Councilman Wenzel? Whoops, he's got to unmute. You've got to unmute yourself also.
How's that?
Okay.
Okay. Director Salmi, these locations of these trees and the number of trees, I'm assuming that the locations you picked aren't close to any kind of utility lines where we'll be having to do some trimming in the future.
Yeah, well, we have some address, we have about roughly 30 addresses right now, so when we get ready to plant those, we'll be aware of that situation.
Okay, and you said how many trees are there?
Well, right now, we have a list of about 30 residents that are asking for them, and we're asking for 40. This is basically a pilot program. I don't know that it's been done in recent years, so it's trying to move it forward and replant some trees. We have a lot of people asking us to replant trees.
And all these trees be planted on city property?
They'll be planted in the right of way, yes.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Woman Hicks Clayton?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just need clarification from DPW Director Selmy, the amount, because I'm looking through the invoices, a couple pages here. One of the pages is showing $15,800. My motion was $14,000. Can we get clarification, please?
Yeah, so my recommendation, I guess I should have put that in the letter, is continuum in the amount of $14,000.
Thank you. My motion stands.
Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it. Next, we have Park and Recreation Director Haddad. Purchase and payment soccer goals for the Dearborn Heights Soccer Club.
Madam Chair,
Councilman Abdullah.
I move that we concur with Parks and Recreation Director Brian Haddad, asking for permission to purchase and pay for new soccer goals for the Dearborn Heights Soccer Club. I'm asking permission to purchase and pay for the pair of Quick Goal Deluxe European Club Soccer Goal, which is 8 foot times 24 times 4 times 8.5 with wheels, as outlined in item 9D.
Support.
Supported by Councilman Bazey. Is there any discussion?
Madam Chair.
Madam Chair. Oh, sorry. He has it
Councilman
right.
Abdullah.
I had a question for the director, for Director Haddad. I know it mentioned this was for the Dearborn Heights Soccer Club, but is this also going to be accessible to your average residents if someone wants to do a pickup soccer game? And where will they be located at specifically?
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, these are going to be located right now. They're going to be mainly used at Parkland Park for the soccer season, but this season they will probably be used elsewhere. They're still trying to find a different type of park where they could use a 11v11 field. But then also why these are on wheels is so we can make the fields even smaller for younger age groups that use the same size of goals. So that's why. So they'd be more versatile than something planted into the ground. So,
Okay.
but they are usable for anybody during any time.
Okay, thank you.
Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it. Next, we have Police Chief Myers purchase and payment protective helmets, protective shields, and associated equipment for officers.
Council Chair.
Councilman Muscat.
I move City Council approve the payment for the purpose of purchasing protective helmets, shields, and associated equipment for our police officers. The recommendation to purchase them from Executive Distributors International in the amount of $11,678, inclusive of shipping. The amount of this equipment will be paid for by the police department's clothing account, as outlined in 9F.
Support.
Support by Councilman Abdullah. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it. Next, under ordinances and resolutions, we have a resolution of the Dearborn Heights City Council endorsing Council Chair's letter to Mayor Peleco dated August 27th, 2020.
Council Chair.
Councilman Muscat.
I move that council concur with Council Chair Malinowski Maxwell with this. It's a long resolution, and I don't know if I have to read it. but as outlined in 11A.
Support. Support.
Councilman Wenzel, support. Is there any discussion?
Madam Chair.
Madam Chair.
Councilman
Councilman
Bazey?
Okay, so a part of this resolution is consistent with what I and some other council members have been working towards on two items. The first one is for the mayor to comply with a financial audit. To me, this audit was not just about uncovering wrongdoing, but also it's about what we can do better, can be better stewards for our residents and for our city and resources, which means that we need information and cooperation from the mayor. So, and two, to recommend an alternate corporation counsel for the city, we need a corporation counsel to not only represent the interest of the mayor, but also someone who effectively advises and represents the council as we represent the residents. As long as the mayor complies, one, with the audit, or financial audit, and two, recommends an alternate corporation counsel, the city council will not need to initiate further action on this matter. The two items should have been seamless process. At this point, after months of requests from the city council members, along with legal actions, we need to move forward with these two items. Okay, we're in the middle of a pandemic right now, and with many challenges before us. It is the best interest of the city and our residents for all to work together and avoid the disruption and also prevent chaos. With regards to the two items I mentioned, okay, we're about to vote for this resolution. However, as council members, we need clearly to articulate what the mayor is not in compliance with and to allow the opportunity to either have the mayor rectify the issue or to have the council pursue further actions. For legal purposes, we need clarification on documentation of the non-compliances from the auditors. Removal of a mayor, as indicated in this resolution, is a strong language and an elaborate process. So we need to be very specific on what we're asking here. So when we reference non-compliance, misconduct, and removal of an elected official from office, we must be clear and specific. So at this point, I would like to ask the mayor, okay, I have two questions for him. Will you publicly, on record, tell us if you will, one, comply with the financial audit and work with us, not against us, to move this forward? And two, will you move forward with recommending an alternate corporation counsel for our city as we discussed, in the past, few months? And if so, we need to establish a timeline. So can you answer those two questions, Mayor, before we go forward?
You need to unmute yourself. There you go.
I would also hope that I would be able to offer a position statement in addition to that. So let me respond to your two questions, and then I would hope that I would be permitted to offer a statement. Your first question on a corporation counsel. I do not believe that you have given me an answer on the confirmation that I submitted to you back in May. You never took a vote on it. And as the city clerk has indicated, every time you make a motion of some sort, I get a copy from the clerk's office. If you go back to the minutes of that May meeting, Mr. Prashevitz wrote in there that the council did not take the item up, or words to that effect. So I am still waiting for a up or down on the confirmation. You need to make a motion to say we confirm them or we do not confirm them. There is no such motion. And I've been waiting, and there was a lot of discussion about, we're gonna continue it for COVID and everything else by a lot of council members. I am simply confused, but in all cases, a legislative body either votes something up or votes it down. You took no action. Mr. Councilman Bob Constance offered a motion to accept the confirmation. It was not seconded, but you just went on to the next item on the agenda. You never unconfirmed them. So that's the problem with the corporation council. If I had gotten some kind of response, I would have acted accordingly. I'm being dilified, and I have not, in fact, gotten an answer to my May response. The other item dealing with the records, you would not have gotten all the Plant Moran records if I hadn't gone and done that. There is nobody that is managing this process. I've asked more than once, but nobody at all is managing it except the consultants. And I think that's very dangerous. I don't think there's any limits on where this is going and how expensive it's going to be. I told you that I am more than willing, but I have not gotten, I got a real nasty letter from the chair dealing with items in response to mine, and I was just trying to outline those that were immediately available and those were not. I think what's also important that I, as mayor, and the corporation counsel, Gary Miyake, had pledged a willingness to work with the council's attorney to work out objections to the information request. Instead of trying to pick unnecessary fights, the council chair would like to do this with this resolution. We should all be working to find common ground to get the needed information without wasting money on attorney fees. And I hope that that makes sense to all of you. But I need somebody to be able to talk with. I have yet to be contacted by the attorney, the accountant, or anybody else.
Very much. I did send you a letter, Mayor, and I did outline that the motion failed, and that should be obvious that his he was not approved to be corporate counsel. As of March, he is no longer corporate counsel. Matter of fact, it's a crime to impersonate an elected official or an appointment that is outlined in section 20-33B in the city code. Right now, we have been without corporate counsel since May, according to our charter. And I don't know if Mr. Shank would like to chime in on this. I'm going to go ahead, Mr. Shank, because he's more. Go ahead.
Just very briefly on the items that the mayor just highlighted. The first, as council indicated, is that an affirmative action of the council is required to confirm the appointment of corporation counsel under your charter. There was a motion brought that did not even receive a second. And so any reasonable person could take from that it did not have the support of a majority of the council when only one person made the motion and there was no support to second. It is an affirmative duty of the mayor to appoint someone to the position of corporation counsel that can be ratified within the time frame set out by the charter. And that is one of the actions of the mayor that has not yet occurred. With respect to the Plant Moran issue, those items have still not been provided in accordance with the subpoena that was generated by council requesting that the items be shared with the accountant and with outside legal counsel. The Plant Moran, at the last communication that I'm aware of, indicated that they had to check with their legal counsel if the Dearborn Heights City Council could request that the documents be shared with the consultants that have been chosen, that have been approved by the circuit court and by the Court of Appeals as being within the council's authority to hire these two firms to assist you with your investigation. They have still not been provided by Plant. Not one document that you requested from the mayor has been provided. And as indicated, one of the mayor's duties as the chief executive officer of the city of Dearborn Heights is to coordinate all affairs of the executive branch of the city. His response to the council was that if it was not physically within his domain or his desk, he wasn't going to provide it and the council should go seek it from somebody else. And that is not consistent with his duties as the head of the executive branch. With respect to the next steps, I think that the issue that's in front of the council now and the frustration that has been expressed by this honorable body for the last year and a half of delay, as every resolution related to the financial audit has been vetoed and then overridden, that your subpoena from July of this year has still not been responded to in accordance with the terms of it. By the terms of the charter, that constitutes misconduct in office. The failure to have a corporation counsel appointed by September, when the charter requires that it be appointed by April at the latest, or May if there's an extenuating circumstance, is a failure to perform the basic duties of the office of mayor. And so that's why this resolution is in front of the council for consideration. I think it is the goal of every council member that I've spoken to just simply obtain compliance and to not have to proceed with this, but that's just not where we have been so far today.
So, okay, so with the first item, Mayor, okay, you mentioned, okay, with the city attorney, are we getting are you appointing somebody new other than Mr. Miyake, or are we still have to go through, like you mentioned, the motion or whatever that you just mentioned?
Well, let me respond to both. If I could, I had a stack of documents on my secretary's desk from Plant Moran. I don't understand if Christina Laszlo is on this call, because I was told that was submitted to you council members, and it's at least 5 inches thick, maybe higher, and that those documents were sent to you last week when we received them from Plant Moran. So I do not understand why you do not have them. I don't know if you can recognize, but did I misunderstand you, Christina, or did we not send those on to the council? Is she there?
I'm looking to see. Can anybody? Oh, here she is. Hold on a minute. Let me unmute her.
Hi, I'm gonna go in the other room with birds. Yeah, all of the council should have got an email from Plant Moran that was a link, and the link was access. I'm outside. The link had access to the information that was all online. It was to their systems. It came through a PM Core email. Nicolette emailed all the council members. Martin replied with a couple things to look at and exactly how to read them. And then it came through a PM Core, I think it was, the third email. Stephanie got them and printed them out for the mayor. And yeah, all the members of council should have that.
Yeah, we received it.
Okay.
I was going to say, I did send Martin an email requesting that he sent Mr. Shank and Mr. Kettner also a link, and I know as of now he still has not done so. Is that correct, Mr. Shank?
And the subpoena resolution from the council required that the information be provided to Mr. Kettner directly. And the last we were told from Plan is that they had to check with their legal counsel to find if it was okay for them to share information with the consultants that the council has directed to receive the information. So that is why the subpoena has not been complied with.
But that's, okay. I was just gonna say the mayor did send it to the mayor, or to Plant.
Yeah, thank you. I have attempted to comply. I don't know, nobody, Mr. Shank or the accountant, should have called and said we didn't get the information, but I did make every effort to, I sent it to all of you on the council. I have participated. That's why I find very troubling, because I'm getting vilified for when I'm trying to respond, and people are raising resolutions that are just not appropriate. Let's, as I indicated before, we should be working to find a common ground to get needed information without wasting money on attorney fees.
Yeah, I mean, need more clarification.
We need to move on because we have Councilman Constant, Abdullah, and Muscat waiting. Let's let them speak. We have Councilman Constant next.
I'll let Ray go first. Go ahead, Ray.
Go ahead, Councilman Muscat. Wait, we've got Councilman Abdullah next and then Councilman Muscat.
Or Councilman Abdullah, go ahead.
Okay, so the only problem I've had with this thing, like Mr. Shank just mentioned, this has been going on for about a year and a half. And what's happening, I think I hate to say this, but I'm just going to be blunt. I think amongst all of us, we're almost acting like kids, where they ask for something, we don't give it to them. Then we ask for something, they don't give it to us. And we've been going back and forth, back and forth. And I've asked this question multiple times. How much has it cost us as a city so far between the attorneys, what do you call it?
Auditors.
The audit, the city's attorney, the mayor's attorney, the Shank, the firm, Shank's firm. Lots and lots and lots of money. We've gotten nowhere. And I've asked multiple times. I don't get it. Whenever we get bogged down with negotiations in almost any field, people sit down together and then they just negotiate something. This back and forth resolutions and vetoing is getting the city nowhere and getting residents nowhere. Now, as you guys know, I was not totally in favor of a forensic audit. I know it's moving in that direction, but why don't we ever sit down together to try to work this thing out? I don't get it. Why is it that we got to keep making these resolutions and then the language in these resolutions? Personally, I don't want to say I'm offended because it's not about me, but to right away state that somebody's got misconduct in office and we're going to remove them from office, those are just not good words to continue negotiations going forward. I really feel that we got to sit down together, whoever is the parties, and then work this thing out, come some sort of a compromise and move forward. Thank you.
Madam Chair.
We got Councilman Muscat here. Councilman, you're unmuted.
Council Chair, I read this, but it goes even further than just two items, that the forensic audit or the audit and the subpoena. We've been battling for a long time. Just even 2 weeks ago, we wanted the barricade at Kingsbury put up. We voted for it to go up, and it hasn't gone up. Matter of fact, it started to go up, then it went back down. We wanted to mark the city cars. We were in a fight to mark the city cars. It's always a constant battle. We veto this, veto that. We can't have this no more. We have a strong mayor, weak council form of government. But just because you say a weak council doesn't mean that we have no powers. We can give direction to the mayor and he has to follow them. And there's been many times he didn't. There was a time when he was supposed to sign the contract for the new ice arena person who was leasing it, Mike Mackey. We had a big fight on that at a city council meeting until he finally gave and said, okay, I'll sign the contract tomorrow morning. When he said he didn't even know where it was at. So to me, it's a battle all the time. So I think the resolution stands for more than just a forensic audit. It's for a lot of things that's gone on in the last 5-6 years. Okay, so that's how I feel about it. But we should be able to work together like Councilman Abdullah says. We should be able to, but I don't understand why we can't. So if this is the way that we have to show force on how to work together, then so be it. Bob, you're next. Robert.
Thank you, and thank you, Madam Chair. 4 points. Number one, the auditor or who's ever requesting the information needs to request it from the administration in writing first and get a response in writing. It sounds like, and I did look at the documents also, the documents have been provided. Number two, that as I've said many times, the council and the mayor are at loggerheads at a stalemate regarding corporation council. The mayor nominated Gary Miyake. The council did not affirm the nomination or did not act, but it's the mayor's nomination, so it's not misconduct in office when the administrative branch and the legislative branch don't agree. misconduct in his office. If somebody doesn't show up at meetings, is drunk, lies, that's misconduct in office. It is too strong of language. In all due respect, Mr. Schenk is not our parliamentarian, and this is way beyond the scope of his appointment, even given what the Circuit Court and the Court of Appeals ruled. And then we have to define what it means not to comply, not to comply. So it's a three-part system of government, checks and balances. Often there's disagreements, but we have to go through the process. That's not misconduct in office. And if we're going to have, you know, all these attorneys involved, usually the city has one attorney, because if you put 2 or 3 or 4 attorneys in the room, they'll all be disagreeing. We'll never have any agreement. So thank you, Madam Chair.
Any further discussion?
Madam Chair.
Councilwoman Hicks Clayton.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm going to keep this really simple. Now, I've been on council since 2012, and it is very disappointing. You know, when we take an oath of office, which we all do, we are sworn by oath to uphold local ordinances as well as state and federal laws. And we should take that oath of office very serious. I'm disappointed that it's come to this point, though I think it's necessary to have this resolution, because again, you've got the forensic audit, and the fact that we've gone back and forth for 1.5 years is very telling. And every time the council, the reason the council does resolutions is to try to get something done to move it over the finish line, because that was the intent of the council by a vote. Should it take that? That's not bickering, that's not fighting, it's not. It's trying to use whatever legislative opportunity you have to get a job done. Again, that's not bickering or fighting. I am disappointed that everything has continued to go on for such a long period of time. It's disappointing to know that it's taken that much time and that much in legal fees just to go back and forth to get this done. Again, the council by majority vote approved that resolution, adopted it to have the forensic audit done. And here we are 1.5 years later. Here we are going back and forth. I've lost count on the vetoes, by the way. There's many vetoes. I don't know, you talk about cooperating. Well, it's a two-way street. We all need to cooperate. We are all sworn by oath. We are elected. We are accountable to our residents to do what's best for them. We are the stewards of the taxpayers' dollars, and that's what we're trying to do here. It's plain and simple. As far as the attorney, I think I'm willing to take a vote today. If you're ready to take a vote on that motion, make the motion, and let's take care of the business. Thank you.
Even the union contract, we had trouble getting that signed. I think we've tried to be as polite as we could. We've already had 10 vetoes. Usually when we pass a resolution, it's for the benefit of the residents. Like when we reduced the water rates by 10%, council passed it, and it never happened. We give raises to employees that the mayor decides he doesn't like them, so he doesn't give them a raise. It's time. I was elected to this office by the taxpayers of Dearborn Heights. They trust us to do the right thing and make sure the charter is followed. We have council would like to be able to do that job we were elected to do by the taxpayers. So at this point, if there's no further discussion, I'm going to take a vote on this. Okay. All those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed?
No.
Take a roll call. This time I would need Councilman Abdullah.
No.
Councilwoman Hicks Clayton.
Yes.
Councilman Muscat.
Yes.
Councilman Wenzel.
He's muted.
Oh boy, where is he?
Yes.
Councilman Constant.
No.
Councilman Bazey.
No.
Okay, resolution passes. Next item on the agenda is new business for permanent traffic control device number T-280. That's for 3 no parking here to corner, east and west side of Plainfield, north of Ford Road.
Council
Madam
Chair.
Chair,
Councilman Muscat?
I move city council concur with the police with a permanent traffic control device. No parking here at the corner east and west side of Plainfield, north of Ford Road. Device number T-280 as outlined in 13A.
Support.
By Councilwoman Hicks Clayton. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it. Next item is permanent traffic control device number T-281. This is school bus only sign on Penny in the far east driveway to Thorne School. Change the one-way signs in the west driveway on Penny to allow traffic into the parking lot.
Madam Chair,
Council Chair.
Councilman Muscat?
Again, I move city council approve traffic control device number T-281, school bus only sign on Penny Street in the far east driveway to Thorne School. Also change the one-way sign in the west driveway on Penny to allow traffic into parking lot as outlined in 13B.
Support.
Support.
Support by Councilwoman Hicks Clayton. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed? The ayes have it. Next, we have business license renewal for Boneyard located at 7010 North Telegraph. We have the Dog House Bar and Grill located at 21350 Van Born. The Polish Legion American Vets number 16 located at 25222 Warren. We have West Financial Auto Group at 5952 Telegraph and X Drive Auto Sales at 6528 North Telegraph.
Council
Madam
Chair.
Chair,
Councilman Muscat?
I move city council approve the business licenses for those businesses outlined in 13C.
Support.
Support.
By Councilman Constant, is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed? The ayes have it. Next, we have comments from council members. Councilman Wenzel.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. First of all, a few weeks ago, we had our Ecorse Creek cleanup and our rain garden maintenance and the Heather Lane Park beautification project. And last week, I thanked everyone that helped out. And I can't believe I failed to mention our Parks and Recreation Director, Brian Haddad, who came out, did a really good job, put in some major sweat equity, provided us with some soft drinks. And by the way, I still have your cooler. I want to get it to you. And also, Director Haddad, are you going to mention the master plan park tours?
That master plan park tour is for committee members that I've asked to help out. We will have a public session later on in the year. So.
Okay, so that's not
for a public.
that's not open to the public then, or the public can't should be advised not to come out with those?
Yes, please. They should not be advised to show up there because it's just the rec commissioners and some committee members that I have spoken with to help out with it for right now, at least.
Okay, now what about any council members that want to show up for a particular park or some of the parks? Would you have any objection to that?
I don't have any objections, but from what I was told through the consulting company, that right now keep the council out of it and bring them in more later, just to try to get more of a public view without the council there. So, but I was going to reach out to the council eventually to get everything going. I'm just going with step by step.
Okay, so after this park tour, what's your intent on this park tour? If you're just having the people that are on the council or on the committee, what's the reasoning for doing this? Is it just to see each park individually, or is get new ideas, or what's your plan?
See each? Yep, it is to see each park individually, and for residents from each side of town to go to a different park because I do have a bunch of people from the south end, a bunch of people from the north end, and we're going to each park and facility to check them out. We'll be speaking about the parks while we're there. But first, I'm just going to give them some basic instruction just to go see the park. I don't want to tell you anything about it. I want you to go see it, what you see, what you don't see, stuff like that. And then we're all going to have like a quick little discussion before we move on to the next park facility.
Okay, all right, thank you. And also, we're going to probably be doing one more
No problem.
maintenance in the couple weeks. Next thing I want to talk about was this thing here. This here is a piece of the lead pipe that is being removed with water service lines in Dearborn Heights. I've been visiting the sites in the last couple of weeks, talking to the contractor. The employees of this contracting firm couldn't be nicer. I talked to the residents getting their houses worked on. They agree. They said that they're very polite and efficient. And my hat goes off to the director, Salmi, for picking this particular contractor. And I have one question for Director Salmi. I noticed that they are bouncing around. They'll do a block and then come back and do some house on a block. Now, I know that's because of a request from the residents to check their pipes to see if they're lead. It seems like we're doing a lot more than we anticipated. Do you anticipate like double the amount of work, or what do you think is going to happen with these? Director Salmi?
He's muted.
All right, here I am. Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, so I'm glad you kind of brought that up. One of the things is that initially we went to council. I think we had estimated about 200. We have already done about 240 of them, and we have identified another 200. So in the next council meeting, like I said, prior council meetings, that this is very fluid. So we will be coming back to ask for some more money. We'll have to come out of the water and sewer fund balance. We'll find it from there. Why they're bouncing around, they're working in areas that we had already identified. So we had them grouped in like Group A, Group B, and Group C. Group B has, we have found a lot more over there between residents calling us and sending us emails and people reaching out to the contractor on site. This is kind of, I won't say snowballing, but it is growing and it's still very fluid. So they are doing an awesome job. We have not had, I think I've had one complaint, very minor, and we were able to resolve that very easily. They are doing an amazing job. They're averaging about 36 homes a week right now. Couldn't be happier, knock on wood.
Yeah. All right, thank you. And one other thing is, in the past few days, we had a major power outage again in the same area. We've been having it. This issue gets brought up. People are complaining. They email and call city council members, complain to us. We kind of go forward. I know we have some kind of contact with DTE. I think, this is like the flooding. When the waters go down or when the power comes back on, everybody forgets about it. This is something that we should keep on top of. It's like maybe the DPW should have a Department of Energy where our direct contact with DTE. I know there's Councilwoman Hicks Clayton has some kind of a contact with DTE. The mayor's office might, but maybe we should have a special department or a special person in DPW that handle these power outages and stay on top of them. I know the mayor's office is taxed as it is, and I know the DPW is also, but it seems like this is a problem, and every time it seems like it gets resolved and it happens again. So we need the residents are pretty fed up with this, with the power outages and the flooding. And also we haven't heard anything lately about the flooding issue, about the retention basin or the Van Born corridor. These things should be brought up every meeting, if not just, I have no more information on it. It's something we could talk about. Every few days I get a call or an email from a resident. What's up with the Van Born corridor? What's up with the flooding issue? What's up with And these are things that the mayor's office should be relating back to the residents through a city council meeting or some other forum. But to leave people in the dark, even though there might be something going on, tends to people to think that there's nothing going on. So when nothing's said, it's worse off. So I think we should have some kind of every meeting, some kind of correspondence on all these major issues that affect the residents of Dearborn Heights. Thanks,
Madam
everybody.
Chair.
Have a good day.
Council Chair?
Muscat?
Yeah, I've got a few things. Number one, I think we all received an email from a gentleman who wants us to stop using our private email server to conduct city business. I have my Gmail account, which is my name and DH standing for Dearborn Heights and CC for City Council at Gmail. And he's made it specifically clear that he thinks it's illegal. So we have to look into what we can do to remedy that about getting a proper city email address, I think, but I don't know how that will work out since we don't have an office at City Hall. So we'd have to have some sort of new client here at my house. And I think that's going to be very difficult to do. So I just wanted to bring that to everyone's attention. Number two, I'm kind of disappointed, and it's not any fault of our DPW director, but I'm a little disappointed to hear we have now almost 400 homes, and how our prints of the city, the blueprints of our city, aren't been kept up over the years. That's a real shame. It truly is. Something so important about our city, the infrastructure of our city has not been maintained. Okay, and that's something that we should look into of why they haven't been maintained over the years. And the third thing is I've been hounded by people who want to know information about the Planning Commission meeting that's supposed to be held this Thursday on the former Christus Victor site. The meeting will take place, the Planning Commission meeting Thursday, for a special land use on the car wash only. So the other project, I believe, has been stopped. So that's all I have to say, and thank you and very much.
Councilman Constant?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a comment regarding Councilman Muscat's comment. The issue is if I email Ray or Denise or Dave Abdullah, or if I call them, that's not conducting city business. That's the case he cited with the former Attorney General. That was the acquisition of some land or something. But if I email Ray Muscat or Denise Maxwell or Dave Abdullah, that's not conducting city business. That's my thought. And I'd like to ask Dan Brooks, this a couple of weeks ago, we weeded the rain garden, and we put down some wood chips at Heather Lane Park. It was not the Ecorse Creek cleanup. One of the problems we have is that the most south rain garden, that fills up with water first and is not draining, and we've been discussing that and go back and forth. So I see Dan Brooks is on the meeting. Is there any plans to remedy that? So because all the plants, or most of the plants in that third rain garden, the closest to Ecorse Creek, have died, and Barb Gorka and myself and Mrs. Johns were, wondering what we always want to make sure that the drain openings are open, but what can be done to remedy that? Go ahead, Dan.
Okay. Well, that's the first I've heard of it. I'll work with the building maintenance department and look into it and see if all the drains are clear. for that rain garden.
Yeah, we've discussed it about that third rain garden filling up with water, but I'll leave it at that.
Yeah,
And then
we'll look into it.
my last comment is we really need to watch the money we're spending fighting back and forth and the time and effort. The city of Dearborn Heights, a $50 million a municipal corporation that spends $50 million a year. We need to get beyond any kind of petty issues and get the business of the city done. When I spoke with Mr. Kettner from the Riemann Robinson, he agreed it's not a forensic audit. A forensic audit is when materials are getting prepared to present in court. It's I wouldn't even call it a financial review. It's very broad, and I think we have to spend some time discussing what we're going to be looking at and what we're not going to be looking at. Plant Moran, the council retains Plant Moran every year to conduct an audit of the city books, and that's done. Plant Moran is a national firm, so I think we really have to be fastidious in what we have the second accounting firm do so that we don't run up a big bill for the taxpayers. Thank you.
Councilwoman Hicks Clayton.
Thank you, Madam Chair. First, I want to go back to the last city council meeting we had. A resident came forward with a concern that was with a school district. And yes, they're a different entity of government from us, and we don't have oversight, as that was clarified. However, I did reach out to Superintendent Mast, because I think it's really important we have good relations, and we have done that over the years. But the parent concern on racism and what is being, some will say, well, that's not an issue. Well, it's not your issue until you experience it. And Jennifer Mast, the superintendent, did let me know that she reached out to the parent. And most importantly, and this is very important for all of us, is that we listen. We listen to others based on what their experiences are. And that's our platform to start off and address the issues that exist for people and in their lives. And I think that's important as elected officials, we do that. So Superintendent Mast did inform me that she is forming a task force to do exactly that. And I think that's really good. That's a starting point. So I just wanted to give that update. I also wanted to do some thank yous real quick. We did 2 distributions this weekend for the back to school initiative that we do annually. And even though it looks different for our students, I'm sorry, I would like that comment read out loud, Madam Chair, that Councilman Constant just messaged.
I'm sorry, it's private, Councilwoman Hicks Clayton.
We
Can
are not,
wrap it up?
Madam Chair, this is a public meeting, and that's actually a violation. So, and I will wrap it up. No, you cannot text people back
Okay,
and
I'm
forth.
not going to allow any kind of fighting. I'm trying to avoid any conflict, and it's only going to put conflict
Chair, if I
between.
may
That
please
is subpoena. They can ask for it. It is public record, but I'm not going to read it at our council meeting. It has no place even being acknowledged here.
Right, Madam Chair, I agree, but it is a violation, by the way. It's like texting on your phone. I'm just going to leave it at that. So with that being said, the backpacks project that we did, we distributed over 800 between the 2 sites, along with school supplies and other items, dictionaries, children's safety books that were presented by Senator Betty Jean Alexander. But I want to thank Eternal Light and Eagle Helping Hands for the food. I also want to acknowledge and thank the Annapolis Key Club members for their support and helping by volunteering, and Councilman Tom Wenzel, Councilman Bill Bazzi, as well for their efforts in helping and organizing this amazing event that impacted so many families. The last thing I have is a very important subject, and I will be brief. I think it's very important though, and that is that the month of September is National Suicide Awareness Prevention Month. And as most of you may be aware, I lost my son February 2nd, and it's a really important subject. What I want to share with you is that LAHC, Leaders Advancing Helping Communities, is hosting a suicide prevention panel, which is scheduled on Friday, September 18th, and that's by Zoom at 1 p.m. So there will be more promotional information posted on social media and other places, but the public, everyone is invited to join us. It's about 1 hour, and I will be presenting as well from the family perspective. So again, you are all invited to join us for a very important subject and community conversation on suicide prevention on September 18th, that's the Friday at 1 p.m. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Okay, at this time, we have Madam Clerk would like to make an announcement.
Thank you, Council Chair. As you know, we have an election coming up in November, and I just wanted to let everyone know who has requested an absentee ballot. The target date for those ballots to be mailed is September 24th. So if somebody doesn't, if you don't get it for some reason by October 5th, please feel free to contact our office. Residents or registered voters can follow their ballot on michigan.gov/vote, and we'll get that information out to everybody as well. And the clerk's office and the pit crew has been up and running and working to get all 9,000, I think so far, ballots out, and I want to thank them for their hard work. Thank you.
Next, we have Librarian McCaffrey. Can we unmute him, please? Okay, go ahead.
Hello, Council Chair and Mayor. I just wanted to give an update on opening. The Dearborn Heights City Libraries are continuing to open safely and incrementally as we broaden the scope of our service offerings. We are proceeding along this path in a fashion that's hopefully, when we open, barring catastrophe, we're prepared to stay open. We are happy to say we are now offering computer use by appointment at Carroll Candy Library. Just call us during our public hours, 10 to 5, Monday to Tuesday, 10 to 7, Wednesday and Thursday, and 10 to 5 on Friday to set up an appointment for computer use. Please, if possible, due to high demand, keep activities professional and remember to wear a mask. Our delivery service has also started. If you want to get delivery from the library, you can either place a hold on our library catalog or call and ask for a hold. And when you get notice via phone, text, or email that your hold has arrived at the library, just call either of our libraries and it will be delivered 3 days a week. This service is for Dearborn Heights residents only. That's all for now. Thanks for your time and see you at the library.
Any other public announcements before we open it up to the public? At this time, I'm going to open up to public comment. Please raise your hand. You have a limit of 3 minutes. State your name and your address, please. Okay, we have got Sam Haig. Can you unmute him, please? I forgot. Go ahead. Sam, are you there?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Go ahead, please.
Okay, good evening, everyone. First of all, I just want to be clear from the beginning. I'm completely against the administration, and you guys already know me. I'm completely against the mayor. But I just wanted to ask Attorney Shank a couple of questions, if he doesn't mind answering, please.
Go ahead.
Mr. Shank, according to the resolution that was being put up to the council today, my understanding that the mayor did not follow through with couple legal stuff that you sent to his office. Is that correct?
Through the chair, do you want me to respond or?
It's up to you if you
that is, well, it's the chair, the council's meeting, so I just want to honor their request. That is correct. The subpoena that was issued has not had a response issued in accordance with the language of that subpoena. as well as other items that were previously discussed in terms of the appointment of a corporation counsel and managing the affairs of the executive branch and responding on behalf of all departments of the executive branch.
Okay. To my understanding, that there was some sort of emails going back and forth between your office and the administration. Was that subpoena submitted by email as well?
The subpoena was a resolution of the city council.
Was it submitted by an email, or how was it submitted?
Well, it was adopted at a formal meeting of the council, and then after the mayor vetoed it, it was approved for an override vote by the city council. And so I don't know how it was physically transmitted after that approval, but it would come through the clerk's office after it's approved, is my understanding.
Okay. You as a professional attorney, do you think them using the resolution by itself, using the word misconduct against the mayor, it's kind of harsh language to use against the mayor, but if we're gonna proceed with any legal stuff, to my knowledge, anytime you want to deliver any legal documentation, it has to be sent certified mail to ensure that the other party did receive it. They cannot deny that, oh, I did not receive it, my email was not working, or any of other excuses which the mayor usually give to us. Would that subpoena ever been sent actually by a certified email?
The mayor has acknowledged receiving it, so I don't think there's any dispute about whether or not the subpoena was transmitted. It was adopted in accordance with the city council procedure for passing a resolution.
Was the mayor given a deadline of responding to that resolution?
Yes.
Was that deadline over?
Yes.
Okay. Because I don't think, I mean, as the council are elected people, same thing as Mayor Dan Paletko. And as I made my statement from the beginning, I'm completely against the administration, I'm completely against the mayor and his moves. But I don't see it legal at all, or even any sort of the way that's gonna make sense for elected people to remove an elected official. If he violated, okay, but if he didn't do his job, okay, but if for the point that you guys brought up, I don't see like it makes any sort of legal point for anybody to remove him out of office. Because to my understanding, till today, Tuesday, September the 8th, some other building directors and other directors within the city are still using Gary Miyake as a counsel for the city. And you guys are saying he's no longer a counsel for the city. He does not represent the city no more. You guys are saying the deadline is over for the mayor. Have your office made any sort of move toward that, or what's going on?
Point, we are at the 3 minutes. If you would
Madam
like
Chair, I do understand I'm on my 3 minute, but as a taxpayer, I really want my point to be understood.
understand, I'm going to ask him to answer your question, but I just want to let you know you're at your 3 minutes. So
Just
could you please answer?
very briefly, yeah, the language of the charter indicates that the failure to respond to a subpoena shall constitute misconduct in office. That's where that language came from. It's directly from the charter. And so that is why it was used. That's why it's referenced in the resolution itself and consistent with what the charter requires.
Next, we have Latanya Gator. Go ahead, please. Where are you, Latanya? You still in here? We have quite a few.
Yeah, I tried to unmute her.
Oh, there it is. Hi, everybody. My name is Latanya Gator. I stay on Madison Street in Dearborn Heights. I was hoping, Madam Chair, to hear an update from Mayor Paletko on what are the next steps for the Culture and Diversity Commission. I personally received my appointment letter, which I appreciate. I know there were 2 people that the city council people had to nominate. And again, I was hoping to get an update on what are the next steps.
Yeah, thank you for being willing to serve on the commission. We are in the process of calling a meeting together of all of you That was going to be done by my secretary. Unfortunately, her son got ill. She got ill, and in light of the COVID virus, I asked her not to return back to work, and I hope I didn't violate any HIPAA laws. But we'll be having a meeting very shortly, and you will be contacting you to see what your schedule looks like, so I will have a quorum at that meeting.
Thank you, Mayor. Should I expect that like via phone or via email, one or the other?
It'll
1
be-
week, 2 weeks?
It'll be an email, and once she returns back, I'll have her, and what she'll do is send them out to all the members of the commission and see what days of the week and what times are good. And then she'll compile that information, and then she'll tell me, like, everybody said Wednesday evening's good, and then we'll schedule it via Zoom.
Okay, thank you, Mayor.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Next, we have Mr. Zuhair, I'm sorry, Treasurer Zuhair. Can somebody unmute? Hold on. You have 3 minutes. Go ahead, please.
Good evening. I have 2 or 3 items. I was hoping that the mayor will appoint people who are really capable of handling the culture and diversity commission, and nothing against the people who are there. But when you appoint same person to several commissions, then you're taking away an appointment of somebody else who's capable of doing good for the city, like Ambassador Ali Ajami or Dr. Imad Makki. Those would have been great people, you know, very respectful in the community, to be appointed to any commission. And I hope that the mayor will consider adding those people to that commission, because really it's very important commission, and we need larger group of people to really bring this community together. The second thing, when Mr. Constant put motion to confirm Mr. Mayatki and nobody seconded, I mean, 5th grader will know that that failed and the city council doesn't want to appoint that person. So there is no need for second motion to say, you know, we don't want to reappoint him. All these things we are doing, the only thing and the most important thing in my opinion is the charter change, the charter revision. I have been asking for this for several years, and I will ask this council, it is the time that you make a change in this city, because I have noticed this mayor when I was friends with him and when I became at odds with him. In his opinion, in his mind, he is the king of the city, either his way or the highway. And I tried, when this council got elected 3 years ago, to send him a message to sit with the new people, but without any success. Either you go the way he wants or it's not going to happen. So I ask you to please pursue charter change as soon as possible and pursue this resolution to the end, because you're going to be amazed what you're going to find during the audit. And I thank you.
He's muted.
Council Chair, you're muted.
Have I been called on?
Yes, you have.
Okay, I did not hear you. All right, Gary Mayatki, Plainfield Street. I'd like to address a few different issues here. One of them is the resolution that you've ended up having on the agenda. Makes reference, and I believe falsely, to me impeding your abilities to end up hiring the consultants. If you recall, your body, or at least someone, started a lawsuit, the first lawsuit, which ended up being dismissed because it was unauthorized. Yet your attorney insisted that it was an appropriate lawsuit, even was telling you to take an appeal on it. And he continues to end up giving you terrible legal advice. And yet somehow or other, that's everyone else's fault. Remember, your first two lawsuits were dismissed on something very simple. It was only the third lawsuit, after I gave you advice on how you could actually end up doing it right, that actually ended up working. So the rewrite of history that I somehow or other impeded things for you is ridiculous. It's your own counsel's incompetence that has ended up impeding you. And frankly,
I'm not
it's
going
also,
to continue to let you insult counsel. Let's keep it nice.
let's
ahead.
remember I have a First Amendment right.
But
And
you
I
also
will-
have council rules on how we conduct our meetings, and we don't bash
Well,
anybody.
maybe one day, Council Chair, will learn what the scope of those rules are relative to the First Amendment. I'll continue. One other thing is that this body's insistence on fighting about unnecessary things is also shown with regard to this. You know, it seems very strange to me that the council's insisting, the mayor's only substantive objection was that he was not going to give you HIPAA protected information, social security numbers for employees, COVID related information, or anything else that's protected by statute. And yet somehow or other, that led to this motion, this resolution. So why do you need those things? Really, why do you need them? Any competent attorney would know that you basically end up trying to work out objections, but you haven't. Instead, you bring some sort of resolution saying that there's some sort of right to end up removing the mayor, which there's not. Moreover, this idea that there's misconduct in office because the council and the mayor have not agreed with respect to someone being.
Minutes are up. Okay, next we have, somebody is under Samsung, whatever that, I'm not seeing it on the screen anymore. And we need them to identify themselves. Okay, there is, are you?
The only thing I see with Samsung is video, no audio.
Okay, where is that at?
It's the, I have it at the very bottom.
Okay, yeah. Samsung, you did raise your hand, but you have no audio on. Can you turn your audio on, please? Okay, I guess next we go on to Dana Parrish. Do we have Dana Parrish?
Yep, I just unmuted them.
Yep. Hi. Good evening, Madam Chair. Good evening, Council. Good evening, Mayor. Can you hear me okay, Madam Chair? Okay. I sent a FOIA request in this past week, and one of the things I asked for was a list of all vehicles currently assigned to employees who are permitted to take them home. The response that I got from the person that handles FOIA requests were that the city does not have a list. That list is, the copy of the record does not exist. So I guess my question to the administration is that we have hundreds of thousands of dollars in city assets in the form of vehicles that leave the city motor pool, I guess, for lack of a better term, that leave the motor pool each night and go to people's private homes. and they're not accounted for because no record of that is kept and available. So how do we account for hundreds of thousands of dollars of city assets every day if there is no record of them anywhere in the city? How do we account for those assets that leave the motor pool in the city of Dearborn Heights each day? How do we do that? Because we don't have a record of it because the person that handles FOIA says there is no such record. So how do we do that?
Anybody want to answer that? Who did you FOIA this through?
The FOIA director, Chrissy Laszlo. And I'm asking the chief administrator, the mayor, if we have no record of city vehicles that are assigned to individuals in the city, and we know that there are some, but there is no record, then we have hundreds of thousands of dollars in city assets that leave our motor pool each day that we have no record of. So what do we do?
Mayor, would you like to answer that? Mayor? He's not responding. Miss Laszlo has got her hand up. Let's ask her. Hold on a minute. Go ahead.
Okay, I was just gonna say, Mr. Parrish, it was explained exactly what the city said we had and didn't have, and if you wanted to amend your request. And
I did amend my request.
Well, not for that part. You sent an appeal,
Okay.
which the mayor still has time to answer, but you asked for a list of all vehicles and who they were assigned to. There's not a list that exists, and it explains to you further that you could have a list of something else, but not that list in its form. FOIA is requesting a record, not creating a document.
So here's my point. My point is that there has got to be a list somewhere. You can use the word record or list somewhere written down or compiled on a computer list or written somewhere that says truck number 35, car number 26. This truck number 35, Director so-and-so takes it home because he has to, because in case a water main breaks, he has to come in the middle of the night. Car number 46 is assigned to this person because whatever their position is, they have to come in perhaps in the middle of the night. There's got to be somewhere accounted for those vehicles that leave the city and go to a person's home, because if that person breaks down or that vehicle breaks down somewhere in someone's home, the city has to be able to go and get it, because I'm sure we have a tow service or somebody that we pay to maintain those vehicles as well.
We're at your 3 minutes. Did you want to answer that, Ms. Laszlo?
No, just again, there's no record and or list that has all the information that he requested. He wrote an appeal and it'll be responded accordingly. Thank you.
Okay, next we have Mr. Jackson. Go ahead, please. You have 3 minutes. State your name and address.
Everybody hear me?
Yep.
Good evening. My name is Ed Jackson, over on Kingsbury. I've got a concern that was brought up 2 weeks ago about the barricade on Kingsbury. Every neighbor on this block signed a petition to have that put back in. Thursday morning, it started to get put back in. It was immediately taken right back down again before it was even completed. Our concerns are still the same. I find it hard to believe that when we as citizens on the block, we're not even, had no conversation with anybody at all. Nobody came down the street and asked our opinions. We voiced our opinions, got council backing on it. Boom, nothing happened. You say the idea of having it put up and removed immediately with new signs put up in the park for 15 miles an hour, no overnight parking, no commercial vehicles. We don't have that going on there anyway. So those signs were unnecessary. But just the idea that the idea that we were trying to protect the children on the block and had motion going forward, and all of a sudden we just disappeared. I'd like to have somebody, preferably the mayor, explain to the citizens why. So when my neighbors ask me why, I can give them a straight answer. It's never been opened up for as long as I can recall. We had no problems on this street with the speeders, the crazy drivers, or nothing else until that barricade came down. And all hell broke loose. We want to know why.
You're unmuted.
Am I unmuted?
Yes.
Okay. I asked the DPW director, Mr. Selmy, to meet with me as to what the barricade would look like. My concern is both from a safety standpoint and how it aesthetically looks. I take great pride in the fact that the park, I want it to look as best as it can. And I wanted to also talk to Mr. Haddad as it referenced that particular part of the park and how it conformed to the plan that was mentioned earlier in the meeting. Well, I found out that they were attempting to put an item up that I don't think looks real good. A couple of barrels and a guardrail is not my opinion of a decent barricade. And so that is why the action was stopped. And Mr. Selmy is going to meet with me and we're going to talk about something that looks decent. And that's where we're at.
And how long would that take, Mr. Mayor? Because in the meantime, I've got a bunch of kids that are in harm's danger.
Well, I don't think it's going to take that long, but I would like to see what ideas the DPW director has in regards to a barrier. I didn't think a barrier that they were going to put up was aesthetically at all decent. And I'm trying to work on behalf of all of you with coming up with a decent barrier. So.
Well, the part of that, you know, the one thing I got with that is that's always been just a barricade across, worked out just fine. When we gave you the petition to put it up, we even suggested maybe a gate that could be opened up for an emergency situation. But having nothing there at all until something's finally decided, is, like I say, is putting a very large percentage of children in harm's way. I mean, I appreciate you want to make it look nice, but something's got to happen regardless. Like I said, that barricade's been there for decades, and it worked just fine. I appreciate the fact, like I say, that you want it to look nice, but, you know, I mean, good grief. I don't want to see one of these kids get run over in the meantime waiting for something that looks aesthetically wonderful for the park. I mean, it makes no sense.
We have Mr. Muscat.
No, not at this moment. I've had that question answered. Thank you.
Okay, next we have Leslie Windlass. State your name, address, and you have 3 minutes. Where is Leslie?
Excuse me, Madam Chair, I didn't get a response back as roughly a time frame on what I can explain to my neighbors with this barricade.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mayor, would you like to explain a time frame to them?
Yeah, all I got was an idea they want to make it look pretty. I need to know what I can tell my neighbors what's going on with that barricade.
When I meet with Mr. Selmy and we come with a solution, we'd be more than happy to give you a time estimate, but they were starting to put it up Thursday. I had a medical emergency I had to deal with on Thursday afternoon, and I used the Labor Day weekend to recover. And consequently, I was not able, I just talked to Mr. Selmy this morning, indicating to him that I wanted to talk. And I'm sure in the next couple of days we'll talk and we'll go from there.
Thank you.
We have Leslie Windlass. Please state your name, address, and you have 3 minutes. I'm looking for Leslie.
Can you hear me?
Oh, there you are. Yes, I can hear you. Go ahead, please.
So my name's Leslie Winless. My address is 23469 Annapolis Street in Dearborn Heights, Michigan, 48125. So my comments are just going to be brief today. I just wanted to talk about the chat that just occurred. I don't understand why, whether she lives in Dearborn Heights, the parent who talked about her kids experiencing racism in Dearborn Heights, why it matters where she lives. Because the bottom line is her kids experienced something traumatic, and I was in tears when I heard it. I feel like anybody with a heart should have been in tears because they described something that happened to them. So for anybody, Miss Mass, whoever believes Miss Mass, to sit here and say that it's untrue, I find that very disheartening. And I feel like regardless of whether she followed the proper chain of command, when people come to the city council, they're looking for help. They don't necessarily know that they're coming to the right place, but they're hoping that the people that they vote for will hear them and will help them. And I think that's all she was looking for. And I believe that's what she got. I heard her speak at plenty of school board meetings, and she never got a response from administration until she came to city council. So whether it was the right place to go or not, I'm glad that she came forward, and I applaud her and her children for the courage they displayed when they told their story. I yield the rest of my time.
Any other comments before we conclude our meeting?
Councilman Abdullah has a comment.
Councilman Abdullah, go ahead. Your name, address in 3 minutes.
Dave Abdallah, Dearborn Heights. Just a quick comment in regards to Dana Parrish's concern. This is whether it's for the mayor or for Christina. I would definitely like to have that looked into, and I'm very seriously concerned that we don't have a record of which cars that go out of City Hall. So I do understand what Christina Laszlo was saying in terms of a record something has to be put together. I get that. So therefore you can't necessarily FOIA something that's not there. I get that. But at the same time, there definitely should be a record of all cars that leave City Hall. So I agree with Mr. Parrish, and I hope this is something that the mayor and his administration can look into. Thank you.
About 2 years ago.
Wait, we couldn't hear the beginning of your statement. Sorry.
Okay, let me start my time. It's not going to be long. Okay, I too have to agree with you. About 2 years ago, I went to Comptroller Vance and asked her for a list of all the city vehicles that we had. She therefore handed me a shoebox with titles to cars in it, and that was how things were compiled. I think that we need to bring things up to date and put them in a system instead of putting them in a shoebox in a closet. That's not going to help us. And so that, I'm done. And we have Mr. Drepkowski next. Let me. Go ahead,
Can you
please.
hear me?
You have 3 minutes. Yep, you have 3 minutes to state your name and address.
My name is Vince Drepkowski. I'm on Columbia Street. I was wondering if we can get an update on the WDHT studios and what the deal is with that. And also, can we get an update on the Ecorse Creek and what's going on with that? Anybody? Can't hear you.
Madam Chair.
Yes, I'm waiting. I'm trying to unmute Mr. Emergency Manager Gavin. There you go.
Are you there? Okay.
Yep, go ahead.
In regard to that, Council Chair, I put it in the budget when you guys approved the budget back there in the spring. And I was under the impression we were supposed to set up a study session and discuss some of the options towards the studio. So that's where it's been. Our equipment is old. With the pandemic, we're not doing as much cable. We get the council meetings on Zoom and we get that up on cable, but we're not doing too many interviews and other activities around the city. So when time allots, we'll have a study session and try to determine what direction we're going to go in.
Thank you very much. Okay, and did anybody have an answer for Mr. Drapkowski's second question?
Madam Chair.
The Ecorse Creek cleanup would be who?
Not the
Administration?
cleanup,
Madam
not the
Chair,
cleanup. Is
He's
there any?
talking about the funding appropriations through the federal level government, which we had a discussion at the town hall meeting. However, because of COVID, I'd be interested to see how that's gonna pan out, because there was a plan and it was a multi-year plan to secure all the funding that was needed through the phases. However, I am happy to facilitate getting an update and having it available either the next council meeting, or I'm happy to post it as soon as I have it. So I will reach out to the federal level leadership and seek an answer for that. And we'll share it.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, Councilman Muscat next. Go ahead, please.
I just want to reply to Mr. Parrish. Some 8-10 years ago, former Councilman Tom Berry wanted to have some sort of motor pool type deal going on where the vehicles are logged in and checked for mileage and gas use and all of that. And it was opposed. Just like it was opposed when I wanted to mark the vehicles with the seal of Dearborn Heights. We always say we're proud that we're whatever we are in Dearborn Heights, but we don't want to show it off, okay? And I've contended for a long time. We need to know where these cars are. We need to know how much gas is used, where the gas is purchased. I've said it before. I've never seen one document from anyone who drives a city car that shows me personal mileage driven and what's reported to the IRS or the mileage on any car. I should not have to request that. That should be given to us on a monthly basis. And if it takes a resolution to do so, then we will do it. See, this is where the fighting comes in. This is stuff that should be coming in automatically. We've mentioned it before, but it just goes in one ear and out the other. If it takes a resolution, then so be it. But I want to know everything about each and one of those cars or where they go. Okay? I've seen city cars out on weekends, not gone, okay? And I don't like it. It's my tax dollars, my gas money, and we're self-insured. That means I pay the insurance too. And a lot of people have said that many times. And if it takes, like I said, if it takes a resolution for me to get these documents, I will do it. Thank you.
Asshole. Must get the asshole.
I heard that, whoever said that. I'm sure everybody heard that, right?
I don't know who that.
Anybody else have any other questions?
Whoever said that should be ashamed of themselves.
I agree.
Okay? Just because you want a car to take home on taxpayer dollars and
Okay.
taxpayer gas.
Okay. I'm not going to
This is
allow any
ridiculous
further.
that I'm called an a-hole over that.
Okay, I understand. I apologize. At this
Well,
point,
you don't need to apologize. The person who said it is a coward. Is a damned coward.
Okay, let's not go here with that. Let's move forward. Is there anybody else that has any public comment before we end this meeting?
Madam Chair,
I'm sorry. Hold on a minute. I've got Mrs. Laszlo.
and Director Hash.
I'm sorry, Councilman, you're not acknowledged. I have Mrs. Laszlo. You have 3 minutes. Go ahead, please.
I mean, I just gotta go back outside of my front porch. I just have two clarifications. I wasn't there when you were given that shoebox with titles and stuff, but I will say that myself, well, Dana Flamont, who is in now right there in the clerk's office, went through and put all of those vehicles in a list. And before that, I was working with Myrma. So we do have a list of vehicles and their VIN numbers, what they are, the year, how much they're worth, and which department they're assigned to. It's just the latter part that there's not an official list of who takes what home and when. It's pretty much by department. My second thing is for the Ecorse Creek, the mayor, I know was trying to get recognized. He will be meeting with Wayne County later this week and should have an update to give to council on what's going on with the Ecorse Creek. He was just informed of it today with an email, and hopefully, fingers crossed, there's good news. Thank you.
Thank you. I do have a resident who has raised his name, and I'm really sorry, but you're only allowed to comment once or speak once, and you've already had your time. At this point, is there any other residents that, or anybody that has any public comment before we end the meeting?
Madam Chair,
Councilman Abdullah?
there's, looks like a resident, John Knappman, and I see Director Hashem both raising their hands.
Hold on a minute. They must be on a different screen. Okay. Did you want to speak?
Thank
Go
you.
ahead, please. I'm sorry. You were on the second page, and I've got other people. Our regular
Yep.
secretary is not here tonight. She's off.
I understand.
You have 2 minutes.
So a couple things. First of all, I was looking at the resolution that the council considered and voted on today. I do have some experience in this. And John Knappman, my law office is at 20600 Eureka Road in Taylor. Misconduct in office is not happen when people are doing the official acts that are allowed to them under their office. That's not a basis for it. I can save you some research time for your attorney. And I can save you a lot more research time because you're talking about possibly trying to justify some type of removal action. You can't, period, end of sentence. There's 2 ways that an elected official can be removed. During certain timeframes, they can be recalled, and the governor can remove them. That's the only 2 ways it happens. So you can spend all this money that you want to on legal research that your attorney has told you is a good idea to undertake. I know you're concerned about saving taxpayer dollars. It is not going to result in any type of action that you can undertake to remove the mayor. So this is a wasted effort from the get-go, a resolution that is more emotional than factual. I commend the 3 people on the council who voted against it because I think they understood that part. And I do have one big concern, which is that Mr. Miyake was accused indirectly or directly, I don't know how you'd put it, of a criminal act impersonating an appointed official. I remember a city council meeting where, Madam Chair, you told him, you're going to be corp counsel until, and I forget, until the state of emergency is over or until you're replaced. Well, neither of those things has happened yet. So I really don't understand how you can now say, well, we haven't had a corporation counsel since May. Maybe you forgot you said that. I'm sure you can look it up on YouTube, but it's there.
Absolutely. I remember saying it, but I found out later in research that it wasn't up to just one individual on this council to decide that. And also further research showed that our charter did not allow anyone to extend his contract. At that time, I was not aware of it.
Okay.
I am now aware of it, and I have not stated it since that day.
Bottom line is this city council speaks through its actions. And although a first grader probably could say from your refusal to second a motion that you don't want a person to be appointed, the truth of the matter is a 15-year-old like my son would look and say, you still have to file and do a resolution disapproving of the appointment. Mr. Paletko.
Are up. Okay. Anyone else? We had Director Hashem. Can somebody please unmute him? Does anybody see Director Hashem? I was told that he had his hand up. We've got almost 60 people in here over several screens, so I'm trying to find him.
Yeah, I'm trying to unmute him, but I can't seem to.
I think you unmuted me.
I just
There
did.
you go. Okay. You
Coun-
have 3 minutes. Go ahead, please.
Council Chair, good evening. Good evening, Council. Good evening, Mayor. My name is Joe Hashem. I live on Wilson Street, and I'd like to just say something positive. All the city council, we have 7 people on city council, and I hope that we end every city council with something positive. If just one of you can say something nice about our city, whether a street has been paved or whether branches have been trimmed or whether anything has been done proper. Obviously, you seem to think everything is wrong, but there is a lot of good things about our city. And I hope, Madam Chair, you would take it upon yourself to just say something nice about our city every time. Let's end up the night with something positive where people look at us and say, hey, this is a beautiful city. We would love to move into it. Obviously, there's a lot of residents moving into here. I know I have neighbors putting up new houses. And let's just end every meeting on a positive note and say something really nice. That's all I want to say. Thank you, everybody, and have a great night.
Thank you.
Madam Chair.
Thank you. I guess on a positive note, Director Salmi is going to be replacing 40 trees throughout our city that have been removed in the past. So we're replenishing our tree supply. At this point, does anybody else have any comment from the audience? Councilman Abdullah, you already spoke before.
All right.
So this is one time and one time only. Anybody else that has not already had a chance to speak? This time, I think it's time to end our meeting.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Okay. Councilman Bazey moves to adjourn.
Second.
Councilman Muscat supports it. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Have a good night, everybody.